Take two. I'm about to cover Kansas, jets overhead, point of no return, and absence of presence. And point of no return is point of K-N-O-W, return. This is the opening frame for the point of no return. The videography is important here, and it's going to verify that this God Ocean reference is absolutely real. So Vanessa VA talks about swapping out homophones and changing the meaning of the song. And in this case, they've literally spelled it out for you that K-N-O-W, point of no return, is actually the homophone with a greater meaning and application to the song. And once you change out that one word, the rest of the song also changes context and makes sense in a different way. But at the time, when these songs came out, Jets Overhead and Point of No Return, when they say we need some sailing men, at the time, people probably thought they were referring to the Vietnam War. But I think you're going to be able to see that they're clearly referring to something more fundamental to all of our, the nature of our world and our existence. Waters above, waters below type thing. And the God Ocean, there's so many ocean and water references going on here that when I recognized it, I mentioned to Vanessa VA that I think you might be onto something that leads to this rabbit hole that people talk about regarding maritime law. Your artificial straw man, all caps, first name, last name. They keep a piece of your placenta, and on their books, you're just a piece of lost cargo at sea, so they own you, finders keepers, that type of weird thing. And I think that might just be a trail of breadcrumbs to lead you down an endless rabbit hole once you discover that there is something going on here with all these water references. And people say, oh no, we're under maritime law, admiralty law. That's why the gold trim around the flag. And if you know the special words, you can go into a courtroom and run the court through your special words and access this other set of laws that they have. And I think that's to probably keep you going down an endless rabbit hole trying to understand a court system when there's something more fundamental underlying all of that that Vanessa VA refers to as the God Ocean. And all these sailing references, sail. They're also going to reference the dragons a lot in here. But when I first came along this understanding of sail and sailing having a deeper meaning, it was to the music video Sail by AWOLNATION and Sail Away by David Gray. And I made videos regarding this. And people who've been watching this channel know how powerful and moving those songs were to me, and I'll talk a little more about those later. But Vanessa VA, once I brought this to her attention and I saw that she's saying the same thing, she's picking up on the same vibe and translating it into the same understanding, I sent her links to my previous videos titled Sail, explaining this understanding I have about the word sail and how it has a deeper meaning and a different connotation if taken in a different context. Because she was touching on the same idea. And up here, I know you can't see it, it's in cursive, but it says point of no return, K-N-O-W, the point of no return. And she started touching on these homophones. Well, in this case, it's literally spelled out for you. But if she made a video and said, hi guys, the song, point of no return, the retrocausal language switched out the word N-O with K-N-O-W, so instead of the point of no return, it was the point of K-N-O-W return, like the return of knowing, the return of truth, the return of Christ. You'd probably be like, you just swap out those homophones in every song and give it a different meaning. In this case, they've literally spelled it out for you. And I will include the video that Vanessa made regarding this correlation between the message I received and the message she received. And the title of her video was that people are experiencing the singularity. More and more people are experiencing the singularity. So I'm going to quickly go over the lyrics here from the song Point of No Return, K-N-O-W. That's how they spell it. And then I'm going to go over the artwork from the two music videos titled Jets Overhead and Absence of Presence. And in this Point of No Return and absence of presence in the time that they were produced, less than 1 in 100,000 people recognize that it's the point of K-N-O-W return. And even if they read it and recognized that that's how it's spelled in the song, they probably didn't come to a greater understanding, because these messages that were embedded in these songs are like time capsules, where the understanding is only available in the future. That's why she calls it the retrocausal language, because these messages were embedded into these songs in the past, and they were meant to be unlocked today at the point of no return, at the point of knowing. We're beginning to know. So when he says, I heard the men saying something, the captains tell they pay you well, people probably just assume this is about the Vietnam War. But this is about you and me, and this day and this time. And they say they need sailing men to show the way and leave today. That's you and me. They say the sea turns so dark that you know it's time, you see the sign. They say the Point Demon's Guard is an ocean grave for all the brave. The point of KNOW return. Your father, he said he needs you. Your mother, she said she loves you. Your brothers, they echo your words. How long till that point of no return? I think we're there. Again, these lyrics, at the time of the production of this music, it would have assumed it was singing to someone who got drafted for the Vietnam War and is headed over to the battlefront. Your father said he needs you. Your mother says she loves you. That's the kind of thing that they would say to their son as they're sending him off to war. Today I found a message floating in the sea from you to me. It said that when you could see it, you cried with fear. The point was near. Okay, I'm just going to use screenshots because this video already got struck down once, even though the guy who I'm taking this video from, it says right in the beginning, I own no credits, I own no royalties to this song or rights to this music. And then he plays the whole music video and the artwork, but hey, they let me get away with saying some stuff other people might get struck down for hate speech for, so it all kind of balances out. But you see this fish? Why is Jesus associated with the fish? What's with the Jesus fish? Don't bother commenting. I know it's kind of still a mystery, but my point is, all throughout this video, we're now watching jets overhead. And you can supplement the word jets with vimanas, spaceships, and you probably got a better understanding of what they're talking about here. And this God Ocean reference is all throughout the videography and the wording of their songs. In fact, Wayward Son, tossed about I'm like a ship on the ocean. It's endless through these three music videos, but I'm gonna just grab a few screen caps. Here's the third scene of jets overhead, and it can be seen as the Arch of Baal, or Arc of Triumph. This is like the fifth scene in that, and you see a ship here, and then they're gonna start to show you spaceships. So when they talk about sailing or ships, they're not talking about what conventionally we understand when we hear those words. This is the very next scene after that. Again, the water. And notice this sun has a six-sided entry portal right here. It'll show it a little closer here in a minute. Behind that fish that was jumping out of the water is that ship right there. And you'll notice they interchange. And by the way, what's that look like? These are kind of like floating cities in the sky. And this is the very next scene. Again, the arch right in the middle and all of the ocean references. These aren't just people who like seafood, just like all the eyeballs that they include. They don't just want to be optometrists. There's a deeper meaning to all those eyeballs, and there's a deeper meaning to all those references to the ocean and sailing. There's that six-sided entry in the sun right there. Might be a little clue to the, thing I captured on video and other people have, the simulator and the portal opening. Again, this is like the very next scene. All the water references, the lighthouse, the water, and they show ships in the sky. And right here are some fish following it up. They're going to show you ships unlike anything you really recognize, like this hot air balloon with a something under it, and you'll see. You got to watch the whole video yourself, or they'll strike me down for showing you too much. There's a lot of mechanical stuff going on in here, too. These are like mechanical squid. Flying space whales. So this is a ship in the clouds, a ship as you normally understand, one that you would normally see on the ocean. And this is the very next scene, and those are also ships that you're a little less familiar with, but referencing sailing, like the song by AWOLNATION, Sail With Me Into the Dark. It's about a alien abduction, and he goes up on a UFO spaceship. I'll include that link in the description. There's a little better shot. I turned the light up and now we're cooking with gas. This is the very next scene. So they go from an ocean liner ship to a spaceship like something you've never seen to airship. So when they talk about sailing, it's not just what we think. And that is included in the lyrics of this song that we're about to go over. Maybe we are the lost city of Atlantis. The waters above and the waters below. So yeah, when they're talking about sailing and sail, that's like the tree of life. There is so much more to what they're referencing than what we know, and that's what it says in the song that we're about to go over the lyrics of in this song called Jets Overhead. There's more symbolism than we can even possibly decipher in this, but jets can be replaced with vimanas, like spaceships of the ancient texts, and then you're probably a little closer to understanding what they're talking about. So the water references you hear in songs, beyond just this one, have a deeper meaning. This is a sculpture of a woman and her hair is a waterfall flowing down. So here you can see the clouds in the sky and the stars in the night sky in the background and a lighthouse right there. So you know that's the ground and the sky. But then you see airships and fish. So when I talk about flying space whales, I'm not alone. There's the clouds. There's even a few stars there still in the background, and there's the flying space whales. And then the next scene, more airships and more water and ocean and sea and sailing references. And it starts and ends the video with this very scene, with the sun here and the sun there, and one looks orange and one looks white. Is that familiar? So now we're going to go over the lyrics from Jets Overhead. Vimanas fly overhead, and I can't hear a word you say. I never seen a look so serious painted on your face. Take my hand. Spell it out in terms mere mortals can understand. And by the way, these are whales swimming in the background throughout this thing. Oops! Before you fly away, lead me to shelter. This is the lyric I was referring to when I said there's more than we've been shown when it comes to these water and sailing references. Juste un outre imbécile. Hope they put in a good word for me. So as you can tell from the rest of the lyrics, they're not just talking about jets flying overhead when they're talking about redemption and you're only here to see if we're worthy, and I'm crossing my fingers wondering what you said to those who you answer to, and I hope that I presented the best of us. This is the opening scene from the music video Absence of Presence, which I won't be going over the lyrics of, just some of the imagery from within. This is the second scene, right after you saw all that maritime equipment. There's the God Ocean. Then they cut to a scene from On the Water where you're racing over the water's surface. And back to the maps and compasses and obviously a time reference there in the middle. And then they cut straight to the clouds, the waters above, the other kind of ships that float on that other ocean. And then back to a swirling vortex of water. And then to the clock. So they're referencing a time loop, possibly, a portal using that vortex. Again, the very next scene, another ocean water scene, and that could possibly represent the arch. And the camera goes through that archway. And notice it's also the sky in the background, not just a water scene, the sky, referencing both. They're one and the same. Water's above, water's below. And after they go through that archway, the first lyric is, I can see reflections drifting into space. And they go from the water and they go up to space. Every single scene in here is referencing this God ocean thing that we're just barely tapping on the tip of the iceberg. Every single scene. But there's a lot of artwork I'm going to show you is just symbolism. Might be a little hard to see, but this scene and the last one are of a ship on dry sand. Another portal vortex, but this one isn't necessarily water. Here I'm going to insert a reference to the music video by FC Kahuna called Hayling, where she sits at a very old piano and you see very old photographic equipment taking pictures. And out of that piano comes these arm tentacles that look like octopus arms, but they're mechanical, high-tech gadgetry. And the one lyric of the whole song is, don't think about those things that you fear, just be glad to be here. And you'll recognize some of the similarities. But there's so much imagery in here, I'm not going to show you it all. You'll just have to watch the whole thing if you want it, because I want this one to actually make it up onto my YouTube page. This is an owl reference, and I'm going to be going over some of this stuff later, how you need to get over all of that fear you have of those symbols that you've come across and been indoctrinated with fear about. There's a Tool music video out there where it looks like a jellyfish is the oversoul. And what would it be without some horned dragons? And there's a different shape horned dragon coming up here in a minute. There's a different dragon. And then it goes back to the ship that's on dry sand. There's a meaning to that. And then to some of this old maritime equipment and maps. Maybe this boat sitting on dry land they keep cutting back to represents those who have not plugged into the God Ocean. And then it's back to some sailing scenes. And then they cut to the cloud sailing. And then they show this clock with its hands spinning pretty quickly, and then they show you the vortex again. And I believe that vortex can be interpreted as the choice point that we're coming up upon that will produce a quantum leap in our reality. And I want to talk about that in the next video. And then it just cuts back to some more water scenes. And it shows you it from above again. It's all about the water. The God Ocean. And just to cap it off, there was a lyric that I left out of that Aerosmith song, and which could be the anthem for this whole CV Cooties thing. Every time someone says, hey, you excuse me, sir, where's your mask? The lyric says, tell me what you think about your situation. Complication, aggravation is getting to you. If Chicken Little told you that the sky is falling, even if it wasn't, would you still come crawling back again? I'll bet you would, my friend. And you can sing that to someone who's wearing that mask trying to tell you you need to. And they'll recognize, if that song was written today, everyone would just assume that it's about the CV Cooties. We'll talk more about that later.